Good evening, everyone. So I know everyone has been noticing the trends. You have been noticing the climate and the environment in America, the United States of America. I mean, a lot of times when I go to other countries, and I'm glad that the people do this, either from South America or Central America, they like to state that America is not the only America. You know, we are also Americans as well. But in reference to that, we have to understand the global dynamic, but mostly here in the reigning superpower. We're the most powerful empire in the world, with China on our heels to take that number one spot. And we have to be very, very careful not to fuck this thing up. But for a long time, we've been kind of following history of a failing empire. See, once you fail, you fail. It's hard to regain power once you have failed of being the superpowers of the world. We're absolutely falling, ladies and gentlemen, and we must be careful during this dire time. And this is all in the struggle. This is all in the aspect of power. Now, regardless of what goes on in the world, family, I'm just going to give you a small little video clip here to show you the state of melanated people in the world. But the most aggrieved group, and I have to speak for my own kind, Foundational Black American, aka U.S. Freedmen, how we are done systematically time and time again. Now, this is nothing recent. This is as of 2 years ago. But again, stories like these didn't get highlighted until after George Floyd. So these things are very important. They're very pertinent for us to understand these things. So again, they're warning, there's graphic imagery in this next video clip. So be very, very careful. If you're sensitive to such content, please pause the video and wait till we get past that point. Here we go. Do it like this, family. Here we go.
Get out of the car, Atlanta police. Get out of the car.
Get out the car.
Get out the car now. Get out the
Fair
car.
use, fair use.
And Buchanan.
Let's go.
Again, family, looks like I'm having some sort of technical difficulties, but what I'll do is I'll pause the video very quickly and see if I can get that loaded up, okay? But as we talk through this, I want to point out some very important things. Just like always, I like to give you guys definitions so you guys understand exactly what I'm referring to here. So what is considered an empire? It says here that an empire is a political construct in which one state dominates over another state. Well, in this reference and contrast, Washington, D.C., aka the capital, essentially rules over other governments that's ruled by a sub-government called state governments, okay? If that makes any sense. It says here, or a series of states. As its heart, an empire is ruled by an emperor, a king, a prime minister, etc. Even though many states in history without an emperor at their head are called empires. And at its core, an empire is the domination of one state by another. We understand that the federal government rules over state governments. Even though the construct, the organization, infrastructure of our governments may seem as though that these states, even like Texas and other states that are alike, are independent of the federal government. No, it's not. And this is why certain entities within the federal government exist, like the Supreme Court. If you're getting aggrieved, if you've been wrongly injusted, what happens? You appeal that to the higher courts of that land, which is the federal government, which is the Supreme Court. I'm going somewhere here. As we look through history, family, we see failing empires and the causes of those failing empires. See, a lot of times when an empire starts to fall, there's red flags, there's indicators, there's tall tale signs of that empire falling. Now, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I don't wish any bad on any government. I'm just looking at history and I'm comparing and I'm contrasting and I'm looking at those ticks. I'm looking at those things that gave us the indicators of researching historically how other great empires fail. We have to be very, very careful here, family. We have to be very, very careful. Now, during the Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan dynasty of Mongolia, it says right here, the decline of the Mongols has been attributed to a series of incompetent leaders. We have incompetent leaders on both sides of the fence. We have incompetent leaders on both sides of the political party. It doesn't matter if it's the Republican McConnell or the Democrat Chuck Schumer or the Secretary of the House Nancy Pelosi or the President Joe Biden, which the Democrats own and operate essentially the business, okay, the Corporation of America. They own and operate that for this time being for the next 4 years, the Senate and the House. So they have total control. But it really doesn't matter because both of them are in this political fight that's been going on for quite some time, but now it's starting to take its toll. Now it's starting to deteriorate. Now it's starting to implode on oneself. And we're seeing this, and that's why I stated in my last video, we're living in very interesting times, family. We may not see the fall of it, but we are seeing this government, we're seeing this country fail. So 1, a series of incompetent leaders. Number 2, corruption and disgust with the non-taxpaying mogul elite by taxpaying local people like you and I. See, the filthy rich don't pay taxes because they use the tax loopholes by their rich millionaire CPAs in order to avoid taxes. And now I'm not stating that regular citizens who own and operate LLCs and S Corps can't avoid taxes either, but they understand that the majority of people will not be able to exercise these loopholes, don't have the knowledge, don't have the resources to go out and get a paid for a CPA. They know these things, family. They understand that the people just don't understand because they make it as so. That's why majority of politicians are lawyers, because they have to study the law. They have to study the Constitution and all the things that make this country a country by legislation, by documentation. This is why. Number 3, feuding between Mongol princesses and generals. So in this regard, feuding against the Republican Democrats and other divisions and fragmentations of the government. This is how the Mongols failed. There was one of the most powerful empires during their time. And if you don't understand history, you don't understand politics, then you may not understand the connection and correlation of what's going on right now. And I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not a doomsday reporter. I'm just giving you the facts as I know it. This is my conjecture. Let's move on, because I want to show these things, family. But who's still caught in the conundrum? Who's still caught in the middle? Black people. Black people. Let's look at this, family. Let's look at this. The 20th century saw the collapse of 7 great empires: the Mandarin China, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman, Turkey, Japan, the British Empire, and twice over in the case, and the Soviet Russians. It says, since the events of September 11, 2001, the 21st century seems likely to threaten the sole remaining superpower, the United States. Let's move on. We won't be here long. We're going to get through this one. And it also states here, family, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful, one of the most popularized, one of the most known empires of them all. I think Rome, they was in power for, 1,000, 2,000 years or whatever. It says Rome was under attack from outside forces. It was also crumbling from within thanks to a severe financial crisis. What's going on right now? We have infighting with the political parties. One political party does not believe the other political party should be in power. Okay. And so they're fraudulating the government, trying to dismantle it within, where the citizens of one political party are stating that their political figure should be in power. But we the people, and this is why I tell you, you should not take a side, because you're going to side with your people, which increases the numbers of people fighting amongst each other when it comes to politics. Oh, I'm a Democrat, so I know Joe Biden won. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a Republican and I'm a Trumpster and I'm a MAGA hat wearing red-blooded American. Now you see some Trump supporters are now going against Trump because now he's speaking out against guns. He made a very slight statement the other day about the raid, the issue warrant on Mar-a-Lago, stating that those gun-toting FBI agents, that's anti-law enforcement, and it's anti-guns, is it not? Now we're like stating that Donald Trump is going against the Constitution. What the hell is going on in America? What the hell is going on in America? Let me read on. It says constant wars and overspending has significantly lightened up imperial coffers and oppressive taxation, and inflation had widened the gap between the rich and the poor. Tell me what's different today, family. Tell me what's different today from the Mongolian Empire to the Roman Empire. You see all of these red flags. You see all these tall tale indicators right before your very eyes. It says now, in the hope of avoiding the tax man, many members of the wealthy class had even fled to the countryside and set up independent cities. And this is, in modern day society, this is the equivalency of people buying their own islands. You know, Richard Branson has his own island. Bill Gates has his own island. Jay-Z and Beyonce has their own island. What's the guy's name that plays Medea? Tyler Perry has his own island. They have their own land outside of these United States of America. And some of you are like, oh, they're just buying real estate. They're not starting businesses on them. I think in the past 10 years, Richard Branson started to kind of do some tourism and things of that nature, but these are private islands with their own infrastructure. Tyler Perry spent $60 million to build the infrastructure of his private island. They're actually building their own sovereign nations outside of America. Holla at your boy. Now it says here that Rome's economy depended on slaves to till its fields and work as craftsmen. Now America, according to the Constitution, we still have slaves. According to the Constitution, those men and women who are incarcerated, and we know percentage-based that majority of those men and women are melanated people, aka foundational Black Americans, aka U.S. freedmen, Black Americans. Okay, so they're still considered slaves. So technically, constitutionally, there are still slaves in America. I'm not making it up. Read the Constitution for yourself. And it states here, and its military might had traditionally provided a fresh influx of conquered peoples to put to work. But when expansion ground to a halt in the 2nd century, Rome's supply of slaves and other war trades began to dry up. Now we understand that a lot of people are getting out of jail because DNA testing, the jails and prisons are overcrowded. So a lot of people are getting released on their own recognizance. Okay, but that's not too pertinent here. I'm gonna move on. Move to my next point here. The Persian Empire, which a lot of you are familiar with. You guys saw 300, you saw that movie, and you understand the name Xerxes. It says here that the Persian Empire began to decline under the reign of Darius' son Xerxes. Xerxes depleted the royal treasury with an unsuccessful campaign to invade Greece and continue with irresponsible spending upon returning home. So we're sending millions of dollars to Ukraine, billions of dollars to Ukraine, millions of dollars to foreign governments, Afghan, all these other countries we are funding, we are supporting from some sort of special interest. But this is occurring in America as we speak. And it's been occurring for quite some time. Now, when you have such a large superpower, a very powerful country like the United States of America, these things take time to crumble. It's kind of like if you had 3 termites eating a piece of a 8 by 10, 8 by 8 post. It's going to take them a long time, but eventually those termites will eat through it. Meaning that post will essentially fail. It will fall. It will crumble. It's been deteriorated within. You never really see termites on the outside of wood. You see them on the inside. And America is imploding on itself. Let me point out some things here, family, that you guys may not be understanding of how these other great empires failed. 2,000 years, the Persian Empire for a long time was in reign. The great empire of Great Britain, they failed. The great empire of Rome, they failed. The Greek Empire failed. There are a lot of great empires that failed for a few different reasons. Now, one of the reasons was never that the people of that empire, the people of the freest country in the world, the people never became too powerful or too successful. Can I say that again? The people of that nation never became too powerful or too successful, or even to the point where they control much of what occurred in that country. And for the lack of education from the people's standpoint, the less we know, the better. This is why they speak in a language, they speak in a vocabulary, they speak in a lexicon, they speak with a vernacular in which most people do not understand. See, I believe it's important for you and I to take the time to study politics. There's a quote by Plato. Plato once said, "Those who believe it's foolish to study politics will be governed by the fools who do, and that may challenge you to do so." We have to be very careful, family. A lot of these things are important because governments influence the economy. A lot of you are like, well, governments don't have nothing to do with free enterprise. Government doesn't have to do anything with free trade. They're the ones who make the legislation. They're the ones who pass the bills into law. Governments influence the economy by changing the level and types of taxes, the extent and composition of spending. They control the taxes. They control how you spend your money, how much you can spend your money, in some regards, where you can spend your money, especially when we're talking about corporations and businesses, and the degree and form of how you borrow money from these entities. These private corporations are also public. Governments directly and indirectly influence the way resources are used in the economy. Listen, governments indirectly and directly influence the way resources are used in the economy. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Let me go back. So who are some of the perpetrators allegedly that is a part of the 21st going into the 26th century fail of the greatest nation on earth? Don't worry, I got receipts. Minority Leader of the United States Senate. I don't want to say names. I'm just going to show pictures. I already said some of these names prior. Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. 46th United States President. Or is he the 45th? I don't know. It depends on what crowd you follow. And then last but not least, the number one culprit of the Black community, your boy, your friend, your confidant, Majority Whip James Clyburn. And you know what I love about this particular site? It says that assists leadership in managing parties' legislative program. What legislation have Black people got in this country? We got anti-hate crime bills for Asian Americans. We got LGBTQ anti-hate crime bills. We got $31 billion going to Native Americans. We got $900 billion going to the Ukraine. We have bought half the country of Afghanistan over here, a quarter of the country from Ukraine over here to be citizens. We have illegals coming over the border, and it don't matter what border you're referring to. They just come all over the borders, and we make them citizens. Now, Think about this, family, and you guys can look up this New York legislation that New York, with their illegal immigration, has now put out bills to make illegal immigrants, keyword illegal, and make them citizens, law by citizens. So you're in, it's kind of like if I was in a bank after hours and I was in the vault. I'm there illegally. Am I not? I'm just a regular. I'm not even a customer of the bank. I'm not an owner. I'm not a manager. I'm not even an associate. I don't even answer the phones at the bank. I'm just in the bank illegally. Trespassing, attempted robbery. All these charges will come against me. And then the bank say, you know what? We're going to hire you on as a manager. Huh? Where that makes sense at? That shit don't make no sense in my book. So you have people in this country illegally, and then you're going to make them law-abiding citizens. I'm telling you, this country is slowly, methodically imploding on itself. And the signs, the indicators, the wonders, everything that you can possibly think of is occurring right before your very eyes. And the people, oh, we're not to blame. Oh, no. The people are not to blame. I think majority of the people are reacting to the circumstances in which they live. Now, we can go off on a tangent. I can go off on a rant about racism, discrimination, implicit bias, all of these things. Yeah. All that occurs, family. All that occurs. But what kind of spearheads this? What kind of spearheads this? I want to know, in the past 3 years, was there something, an event that occurred where a party promised a particular people that they were going to do something specifically for that group because that particular group helped them to be empowered? 87% of the people who vote of that particular group made a particular party, a particular person in power. And that party controls the entire United States of America. Let's see if we can finish this one, family.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Let's move. What are you doing, man?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
Tell me, what are you doing?
Wait a minute, hold on. Don't grab me like that.
No, hold on. No, hold on. No, hold on. You do not swipe my hands from me. Do you understand?
Oh, God. Help me, please. Oh. Oh, my God.
What's wrong with your left foot?
It's tangled or something. I don't know.
It's got what?
A lot of weight on it.
Just a little bit.
A little heavier when you drop.
Fair
We're
use,
laughing
fair
because
use.
you fell pretty hard after pushing an officer, man. I find that funny, man. You don't touch officer, man. You don't touch an officer. Yo, you did do that.
That's bad.
I guess you don't drive on the wrong side of the road either.
Break it up, man.
You ready? You got that side against side. 1, 2, 3, go. You're not even trying. Come on, man.
Hey, man, I'm just waiting on it.
Why you?
We have those law enforcement agencies, those race soldiers, those thugs in blue, they wear badges. And I'm not stating that all police are part of the system of white supremacy. I'm not stating that all cops are bad. But what I'm stating is that we have a system where the people are being oppressed. Foundational Black Americans are being oppressed by the same ones that took an oath to protect and serve. Police officers serve their local municipalities. They serve their state, and they serve their country. And when they're used as militarized forces against the people, like federal troops or the National Guard, then you understand this is a tall tale sign of a country imploding on itself. Just because the color of your skin, just because of where you live, just because of the amount of money you make, you could be a victim of white supremacy. The officer did not read the gentleman his rights. They told him to exit the car. They didn't even give him a reason as a citizen. They treated him like an animal. And then the officer proceeded to put his hands on this gentleman where this gentleman was not a threat. And the gentleman did a swipe away, so to speak. Like, hey man, what's going on? Like, why are you putting your hands on me? You haven't even told me anything. You just came up to my car and told me to get out of my car. And then another officer from the left-hand side runs and tackles the brother. And this young man broke his ankle. And then the other officer who was telling this gentleman to get outside the car said, I find it funny that you broke your ankle. You don't put your hands on a police officer. Okay, so you're doing your job improperly. And I'm the one in the wrong. Now, thank God it only took 2 years for these police officers to be indicted, but nonetheless, they were seen in the wrong because essentially in cases like this of an unarmed black man, 99% of the chance of what I've seen, they're in the wrong. So when I say the fall and the felling of this most powerful nation in the world, the fall of a reigning superpower, the fall of a reigning empire, then you guys know exactly what I mean. Thank you guys for joining me here today. Jermaine Anderson, thank you for moderating, sir. You guys have a great and wonderful day. I'm out.